What's going on, guys? This is your boy Luis, and as always, thanks for tuning in to another episode. I gotta tell you guys, I might be doing some venting in this video. I'm sitting here next to old difficult girl over here. Last video, guys, you guys clearly saw that this car, the Supra, pretty much finally had started for the first time in the last 3 years. Something that's very weird, and me and my buddy could not figure out and could not explain what the heck happened. Let me run this down, right? So, fuel pressure was set on the last video for like that initial crank and startup, right? Fuel pressure was set, triggers were set, everything was set on the actual base map for initial startup. Car started up. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it did not sound right. Not right, but like it wasn't idling perfect, right? For obvious reasons, because it was basically a map that was built from scratch. We did not download the ECU Master 7M GTE from online, for the fact that there's a lot of things that I don't have that are like the OEM 7M GTE. So it'd be easier for my buddy Cody to pretty much build the base map from the beginning, fresh. Long story short, we got it done. About a week later, we're gonna try to get together again to try to build on that base map to finally set ignition timing and all that stuff to kind of dial things down, and so it could run a lot better. One thing we cannot explain was, one, I was having cam and crank signal issues. I have a 36-in-1 crank kit. For some reason, on every other rotation, there was some interference somehow, where on the graph it would show that it was missing 2 teeth and then 3, and then I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly. All I'm saying is that it was not right. And then the cam signals was also having the same issue. I was getting a little frustrated because the second time around, a week later, we could not get the car to start whatsoever. I hadn't touched it. The map was completely the same. We had saved it, everything was fine. For the life of me and the life of my friend, we could not get the car to start whatsoever. We couldn't get it to start. So I kept on adjusting the gaps on the actual sensors. It didn't seem to make any type of difference, any positive difference for that matter. So on one of the occasions, I actually ended up closing the gap too much, and as you can see here, I ended up nicking the Hall effect sensor. These little bastards right here are pretty much on back order everywhere that you look right now. So I couldn't order another one to try to get things going. But on the meantime, you know, I hit up the guy that sold me the kit for the crank trigger. Now, there was one key mistake that I did not follow. And I want to talk about the importance of doing your research and doing reading and following things up, because sometimes, and I don't even know if this is initially going to fix the mistake. But anyways, long story short, Forneri's kit online for the crank trigger specifically tells you that the sensor ground should be grounded at the battery. Directly at the battery, not at the actual ECU pin for the sensor ground or chassis ground, because he specifies that there could potentially be issues or just wrong readings and interference. So that is something that I did not do. So all that being said, guys, I have found a separate sensor. It's not the exact same. It's not the exact same as this one, a Hall effect sensor, but it is. I don't know how to specify it, but this should work. This should work. If you guys want the specific part number, I would put it down in the description. But this sensor, new sensor, should work. So what I am going to do is I am gonna rewire this specific sensor and rewire my cam sensor, because those two are currently right now grounded or using the sensor ground from the actual ECU. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow the instructions. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that is one of the that is the mistake that I made when it came down to wiring. And hopefully the ECU could finally pick up the proper signal without any type of interference, and we could finally set ignition timing on the actual 7M, and hopefully it would run a lot better, or actually start again, because after I heard it on the last video, I have not heard it again. So I got so hyped up for no reason. But learning experiences, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and rewire these and rewire my cam sensor. So as you guys know, I no longer have my battery up here. It has been relocated to the trunk. One thing that I am doing is, if you guys remember, I have a specific bus bar right here. Sorry for the bad lighting if it's too dark, but I have a specific bus bar here, and this is where I connect all my 5 volts or sensor grounds or chassis grounds, whatever the case might be. So what I am going to do is I am gonna run one wire down through the middle. This is where my main cables are for the actual battery, but I'm gonna run one wire through here up to there and up to my main bus bar directly. It should be technically directly to the battery. I am gonna depin my 2 sensor grounds for the cam and crank, and I'm gonna run those ground signals up to the bus bar and connect it directly. In theory, that should be directly to the battery, not the actual ECU. So a lot of talking. I know there's been a lot going on, and it's been very frustrating, if I'm completely honest. So, oh, plus I had to search and find and wait for sensors to be available for me to order online, since I had messed up that one. So yeah, let me get to this and then we'll go on from there. Alright guys, so just random thing that I'm also gonna do. I don't know if you guys remember this Strut Tower that I was lucky enough to pick up for 20 bucks. Yes, I got this thing for 20 bucks, guys. And I don't know what brand it is, but it's a Strut Tower. It's been painted before, but I'm gonna go ahead and do some wrinkled black on this and eventually throw this on. So just random thing that I'm doing. New sensor is installed. I'm gonna start the gap at 0.063 millimeters, I think what it is. I got my filler gauge here, so instructions say to start about 60, so these 3 are 63. That's the gap that I'm gonna start at. So I pretty much depinned and rewired this up. So sensor is good to go. The cam sensor is also good. I had changed that one last time. So on the ECU side, basically what I did is I ran one ground wire directly from the back of the battery. It's connected directly to the ground, and it's connected on this post right here. So that sensor, or that should be the battery ground now. And then for basically my cam and crank sensors, I depinned or actually my sensors grounds were over here, so basically I ran them again from right there, and now those are connected on this single wire here, and it's connected to there. So in theory that is now technically connected directly to the ground of the battery, and not the sensor ground supply from the but the sensor ground from the actual ECU. So okay, that is good to go. Wiring should be good. This plug right here is just a quick disconnect. If in the future there are 2 pickup resistors that are in here, dedicated specifically to the cam and crank sensors, so if I ever need to change those out, I could just disconnect it from here and redo it real quick instead of having to redo the whole harness. So I'm gonna wait for my buddy Cody to kind of be available, and we're gonna try to record scope remotely. Fingers crossed that is finally fixed or in order. Oh, a little dark. And we could move on to the next step because it's been too long. But yeah, wait for him to be ready. Alright guys, so a little recap. Me and Cody have been going at it for about 2 hours now. We're just kind of troubleshooting different things. We found a couple errors. 2 of the wires were switched or backwards on the cam's side on the engine bay, so we flipped that. The new sensor that I have apparently has a 13,000 ohms pickup resistor built in, so compared to like the 1,000 pickup resistors that we were using, there's just you know, big difference. But that's a positive, because initially when we were recording scope, we were not getting any readings whatsoever. It didn't matter what spacing we had on the cam or crank, we were not getting anything at all. And that was given the fact that we were using the 5-volt supply from the actual ECU. So we tried something different, just for testing purposes. I'm gonna show you guys real quick. So just for testing purposes, I am now actually supplying 12 volts to the sensors. This actually significantly made a huge change, or a huge difference. So on the screen here, we are recording scope. Before, when we had the 5-volt, we were getting absolutely nothing. Nothing from cam, nothing from crank whatsoever. So Cody suggested we do just try that 12-volt. So just for testing purposes, we're gonna go ahead and try it. So ignition's on. Scope is gonna begin to record in a little bit, and we're doing this over just so I could have it on screen. Cody, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go.
There you go.
All right, so as you guys can see, we have now officially gotten a decent graph right here, and that actually seemed to make our cam signal pick up as well. Now there's just a little detail we see. As you guys can see, the missing tooth is going around almost at the top of the missing crank tooth. So I'm learning myself, but initially you do not want it to be that close. We have some positive progress. We're gonna continue, or hopefully continue just a little bit longer, and see if we could figure something out. But we seem to be getting signal from the cam and crank now, so it's pretty much on to the next step now. But I just wanted to record that. It's exciting for me because honestly, if I'm honest, this thing was starting to piss me off. So yeah guys, I'll keep you guys updated for sure. If you're wondering what the heck we're doing, the intake side cam gear is coming off, and this is why. I'll put the video up right now. Yep, as you guys can see, that thing was pretty bent. We don't know exactly what the heck happened, but another gear was provided by Fornari Racing. It's just one difference is that the magnet on this one, you guys could see here, the magnet top dead center was 90 degrees before top dead center. On the new one, the magnet is 90 degrees after top dead center. So I'm sure it's just a setting that needs to be configured on the EMU software, which I am not familiar at the moment. So that kind of sucks because I might have to wait for someone to kind of get that going. We could crank it up though to make sure that this pulley is not bent. But there's been a few setbacks. Haven't recorded in a while. I figured I showed you guys what the heck has been going on. On a second note, a familiar face you guys haven't seen in a long time. Mr. Gallardo. Still doing Supra things. He's nice enough to come help me real quick, because it probably would have taken me an hour to do that. It takes him 5 minutes. So yeah. Hopefully we could get this thing going for Supras in Vegas this year. Mr. Gallardo might have a surprise also. If everything goes well, he'll be having something new. All right, so this should be straightforward now. All right, that's good to go. Got a horrible exhaust leak. You guys heard, huge exhaust leak. Honestly, this exhaust is ugly as hell. I do plan on making a nice one. And as you guys can see, I don't even have a wastegate dump on it. So that's for sure gonna get done before it hits the dyno or anything like that. The scientist is here helping me out. Alright, so some of you guys were asking, keep in mind I have oil squirters deleted, shimmed oil pump 5mm, drift motions pickup tube on the bottom end. So this is kind of the first, well, we've seen this before, but to actually monitor it on the computer. As you guys can see here, when it started to kind of idle decently, it was around 40 pounds of oil pressure. It was at 56 and then kind of tapered down to 40. And throughout that little session, it stayed around 40 PSI at idle. So that's not bad. Okay, so just recording as we go. I want to show you guys kind of everything. That run right there, it sounded, this is my first time actually hearing it with the 272 cam, so it sounded like it was missing, but we're not sure if that might have been the cams. It was on wasted spark, and this run we're gonna try to run it on full sequential, so see if that makes any difference. But all right, so something weird that's happening is the car will run fine on wasted spark, but as soon as we switch it to full sequential, the car does not turn on. Doesn't, just cranks and cranks, does not turn over, doesn't seem to want to run on full sequential. Pretty weird. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. But also another thing is we came to the conclusion that it's not misfiring. It's just the lobe of the cams, so it's new to me. Never heard it like that, but seems to be fine, perfectly fine as far as that goes. So we're gonna keep on digging into this for a little bit and see if we can figure it out. All right, guys, so Cody figured it out. If you guys remember, beginning of this, I mentioned that this magnet was 90 degrees 180 before, or actually after top dead center. The one that I had on before was before top dead center. So ECU was telling to fire it at cylinder one.
So because of that, and because I was looking for that cam sensor, the sequence was out 180 degrees.
Right. So luckily it was something simple.
Same situation as JZ motors changing from a front cam sensor to a rear cam sensor. Your firing order changes 153-624 to 624-153. 180 degrees out was the problem.
So luckily it was just a input change on the ECU and not something actually wrong with the injector so far. So one check mark crossed off. We're gonna continue to play with it a little bit, see how far we could get today, but definitely a lot closer. All right, guys, so a lot of this stuff that was on our previous kind of checklist, a lot of this stuff has been taken care of, if not all of it, right?
All of it.
Yeah, all of this has been taken care of, so yippee. We're gonna start a new one because there are a couple of mechanical things to address, I guess you could say. Car's running good, idling good, sounds good. Gotta put a lot of this stuff back together. But she's now on sequential injection. So we figured that out. Cold start. I don't think my RPM gauge is exactly where it needs to be. Right now she's kind of idling like about 800 RPM, so that's pretty much off. But exhaust leak, she sounds good. Fans kick on at about I think 160 degrees, something like that. I went ahead and pretty much put the interior kind of back together. Don't mind the dirty seats, dirty carpet. This car was not taken care of before it got into my possession, so the interior is pretty much dirty. But missing the center console. I put most of the interior together. Center dash. I put that back together. The unit that was actually in this one is now in my Sequoia. But mounted the plastics for the glove box, because this is where the ECU is going to be seated. Kind of put the back seats back in here. Throw everything back on for the most part. Super dirty. Have a few pieces missing. But yeah. Well, alright guys, there you have it. I'm excited because she's finally idling super good. As you guys heard, she sounds good, she sounds healthy. But huge shout out to Cody for coming out and helping me out getting the pretty much idling the map on the idle set up so we could hear it and make sure everything's good. As you guys can see, I also have new checklist to go through, so most of the stuff is kind of mechanical that I need to figure out, but it's definitely motivating because I don't have to worry too much about the engine actually running and sounding good. So as far as that goes, there isn't any issues. Other than that, I hope you guys like this update video. It's been a while, and that's because I was holding off. I came across that issue with the cam gear being bent, so it was wobbling like that, and the belt, I didn't want to have any issues like that. So other than that, I had to wait for that stuff. But anyways, I hope you guys like this update. Summer is coming along pretty fast here in Arizona, so the garage is gonna get super hot and it's gonna be miserable working out here. So I gotta take care of a lot of this stuff ASAP. On to another thing I wanted to say is that I have a cool video coming up next week. There is an annual Supra meet here in Arizona. I was really crossing my fingers and I was hoping that I was able to take this out even just on a base tune, but unfortunately it's not going to happen because the idle map, or the map on the idling is perfect, but as far as driving, I cannot do that just yet. So fuel parameters and all that stuff are off once it's running and stuff like that. But cool video that I'm gonna have uploaded next week, hopefully by Sunday. Annual Supra Arizona car meet. I'm gonna head there and check out a lot of the local Arizona Supras, and very nice and pretty fast cars out here. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But other than that, guys, if you guys have any questions, any comments, concerns, as always, please comment down below. And if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. A lot of Supra content, Mk3 content, 7M content, but welcome to the family. Other than that, guys, peace out. See you next week. Hey.